Hi, I'm Richard McPherson. I'm the Chief Instructor at Let's Ride Motorcycle Training, and in this lesson I'm going to show you the Module 1 controlled stop. Okay, so you've just finished your U-turn exercise and the examiner will come up to you with a little diagram just showing you the circuit rides. So you've got 3 circuit rides on this test. The first one, which we're about to demonstrate, is the controlled stopping exercise, which will then move on to the emergency stop and then finally the hazard avoidance exercise. But they all take the same route. What is different between the exercises is the speed that you have to travel. So with the controlled stop, which is what you're about to do here, there's no set speeds, although the examiner will suggest a speed of around about 19-20, but it doesn't matter what you do here as long as you end up with your front wheel in the box of blue cones at the end of the circuit. Now, the actual layout of the circuit does differ from test centre to test centre. Now, the multi-purpose test centres, generally speaking, are the same. Some can be a little bit bigger, some can be a little bit smaller. Our local test centre Poole is a bit weird because it was a sort of temporary site several years later, but it's now a full-time site. But to make it work, the route around it is a very strange route around the test centre. But the examiner will explain all this via a diagram. So what we'll do, we'll head back to the studio and we'll just go through the circuit as per the official DVSA circuit diagram. I've always wanted to say go back to the studio.
Okay, so here we have the official motorcycle manoeuvring diagram from the DVSA, and this shows you the left circuit, which is the circuit that we utilise at our local test centre in Poole. But as you could probably guess, there is also a right circuit. So it does depend on the test centre. And with the bigger multi-purpose test centres, quite often you can have both a left and a right circuit. But the only fundamental difference is the direction of the hazard avoidance manoeuvre, which in Poole is a left-right swerve, but at Leon Solent that could be a left-right or a right-left. So otherwise it's exactly the same no matter which test centre that you use. So let's bring in a picture of a bike in the bottom left hand corner where you've just ended up on your U-turn. There it is. Now you'll have to excuse my very crude attempts at animation here. It is the first time I've tried it and I'm pretty sure you're going to be able to tell. Okay, so you'll begin the exercise as per all the other exercises with a very good all-round observation. And then you'll pull away and head to the far right hand corner of the testing area where you'll ride the bike between the blue and the red cones. And you want to be in second gear here, around about sort of 19-20 miles per hour, and just keep a nice steady pace as you go round the corner. It's no problem at all, even in the wet, no issues. And as you come off the corner, we just get the bike lined up between the red cones, ride all the way down between the cones, then a nice smooth stop with the front wheel right in the middle of the box of blue cones at the end.
Okay, welcome back. So let's go through the controlled stopping exercise. So as I said a little bit earlier, it doesn't really matter what speed that you do this at, as long as you end up with the front wheel in the box of blue cones at the end of the circuit. Now what I suggest here is use this as a little practice run to get up to your full speed for the next 2 exercises, because what you've got to bear in mind is that a lot of this circuit requires you threading your motorcycle through cones which are only 1.5 meters apart. Now what you don't want to do on this particular exercise, or in fact any of these circuit rides, is to be looking down at your speedo for any length of time, because I've seen it happen. People sort of stare down at the speedo, desperate to get up to the minimum speed requirements, and end up drifting a little bit and then taking out a cone. So it really needs to be done on engine pitch rather than looking down at your speedo. Now what I suggest for all the circuit rides is do the thing in second gear. Now second gear is good because it allows you to easily get up to the minimum speeds for the emergency stop and the hazard avoidance. There's also got a lot of low down torque, so it's great for accelerating. So what you want to try and do is memorize in your head that particular engine noise to get you up to the minimum circuit speed of 32 miles per hour, which is what you require for the emergency stop and the hazard avoidance. So on the controlled stopping exercise, as I say, the examiner will explain that there's no specific speeds, although he will suggest a speed of 19-20 miles per hour. But what I suggest is use this as a little opportunity to get up to your 32 miles per hour in second gear, just so you get a bit of a practice, get a feel for that engine noise and that speed. So you can use it as you approach the far corner, you can use it as you're coming down the testing area as well. As long as your front wheel ends up in that box of blue cones, it doesn't matter what speed that you do here. So a bit of a tip there for you. Okay, now with this particular car park, we can't set up a full-size facsimile of the circuit ride. We can't do the corner. We can do the straight, the swerve, the emergency stop, all that kind of thing, but we can't actually demonstrate the corner. Now, if you're doing your training with us, we do have access to a huge car park, probably 4 or 5 times the size of this one, where we do all the Module 1 training, so we can set up a full-size replica of the test. But here I can only show you the sort of coming off the corner and then doing the rest of the exercise. But just remember, for the corner itself, it's a 180 degree corner, and whilst the radius of that corner does differ from test centre to test centre, it's still very large and very easy, so don't overly worry about that. So I can certainly show you coming off that corner and the rest of it. So let's just talk through the controlled stop then. So imagine you've just gone round the corner, and I would suggest doing the corner around about sort of 19, 20 miles per hour, just what the examiner says, in second gear. And as I mentioned earlier, why not use this as a little opportunity to have a quick play up to your minimum speed of 32 miles per hour, which is what you need for the next 2 exercises. So a real good opportunity here to have a little play on that bike, to get it up to speed, get that noise in your head, get a feel for what 32 feels like before you actually need it on the next 2 exercises. But on this particular one, there's no set speed requirements. So we've just come off the corner, we're now lining the bike up through this channel of red cones, and let's just walk through it. So all we're going to do is ride through these cones, and then this set of yellow cones is actually where your speed trap will be on the test. So there's a little box of tricks on the left and right, just hidden between the cones there, which is a little laser system which measures your speed as you go through it. But on this particular exercise, no actual speed requirements, but we could use it as a little practice run. The next 2 exercises though, you will need to be hitting at least 30 is your minimum. Your target is 32. So we go through the speed trap, and then we just shut off the power. We're bringing the bike between the red cones here. We can ignore the blue cones on the left, that's for the final exercise. And then all we've got to do now is bring the bike to a nice smooth stop with our front wheel in this box of blue cones down at the end here. So bring it down into first gear, nice smooth stop, and the only requirement for this part of the test is your front wheel ends up right smack in the middle of this box of blue cones here. That is the only requirement. If your front wheel is before it or after it, that's the only way you're going to fail this part of the test. So the front wheel's got to be right smack in the middle of this box here, and the examiner will explain all this to you on the test. Okay, I'll just do a quick demonstration. So we could do this exercise at the recommended speed of 19-20 miles per hour, and as long as we get our front wheel in this box of blue cones at the end here, so right smack in the middle there, that's all that's required on the test. But let's use it as a little practice run in terms of getting our speed up. So what I'm going to do, if this was the actual test, when I pull away from after the U-turn, there's a lot of space to have a little practice run up to 32 miles per hour. So that's what I would do. I would go around the corner around about 20 miles per hour, 19-20, and then I'd accelerate coming off the corner, get to that speed trap at least 32, shut off, brake, and get my front wheel in this box. So let's give that one a try. Come off the corner at 20, accelerate, get the bike up to at least 32, and then just a nice smooth stop with the front wheel in the box. So now I know what the bike sounds like at 32 miles per hour, ready for the next 2 exercises. And that is all what a control stop is, dead easy.